Boulevard. The surrounding properties to the north is a bar nightclub located to across Bragg Boulevard. To the south is a residential district. To the east are various commercial uses, and to the west are various commercial uses, which is another shopping center, which also has a religious institution that is currently located at the end of this building. As you can see from the survey provided by the applicant, they are requesting a reduction in the 500-foot distance separation to 185 feet. From this corner of the where the religious institution would be located to Secrets across Bragg Boulevard to the north is approximately 185 feet. According to the development standards in the UDO, section 30-4.C.3.G, religious institutions are required to be at least 500 linear feet from any adult entertainment uses and/or bar, nightclubs, and similar establishments. So the applicant is asking for a reduction from 500 feet to 185 feet in order to locate their use in the building. The recommendation is to approve the requested SUP to reduce the distance separation in a community commercial zoning district. The general consistency statement for the approval should include the amendment is consistent with applicable plans because the city's Unified Development Ordinance supports residential institutions in the CC district. The uses surrounding this property are a mix of commercial uses which are compatible with the proposed SUP. And the proposed SUP is reasonable and in the public's interest because the proposed zoning fits the character of the overall area. That concludes my presentation. Staff asks that you reserve any questions until you open the public hearing. We do have one person representing the application who is also available for questions. Thank you.
I'm John Bantsolis. I live at 6304 Whitehall Drive in Fayetteville. I'm a commercial real estate. Oh, sorry.
You need to open the public hearing.
I will open the public hearing. Please proceed, sir.
Sorry. That's right. John Bantsolis, 6304 Whitehall Drive in Fayetteville. I'm a commercial real estate broker representing the seller of this property, 901 to 907 Bragg Boulevard. I was told I need to go over these findings of facts with you. The special use complies with all applicable standards in section 30-4C, use-specific standards. Currently, the UDO identifies the standards below for religious institutions. Religious institutions shall be located at least 500 linear feet from any adult entertainment use and/or bars, nightclubs, or similar establishments. Religious institutions in the AR, SF15, SF10, or SF6 districts that include a school or sanctuary with a capacity of 800 persons or more shall obtain a special use permit in accordance with section 30-2C7. The special use is compatible with the character of surrounding lands and the uses permitted in the zoning district of surrounding lands. The application states the religious establishment is compatible with all surrounding uses, retail, and entertainment. The special use avoids significant adverse impact on surrounding lands regarding service delivery, parking, loading, odors, noise, glare, and vibration. The applicant attests to there will be no adverse impacts on surrounding lands. Special use is configured to minimize adverse effects, including visual impacts on the proposed use of adjacent lands. The applicant states the building will not be significantly altered and no visual impact upon adjacent lands. Special use avoids significant deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitats, scenic resources, and other natural resources. The religious institution is a very benign use which will not affect deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitats, scenic resources, and any other natural resources in the vicinity. The special use maintains safe ingress and egress onto the site and safe road conditions around the site. Currently, the site has 3 driveways for access from Bragg Boulevard. The special use allows for the protection of property values and the ability of neighboring lands to develop the uses permitted in the zoning district. The applicant states that the neighborhood is already fully developed and the special use will not adversely affect property values. The special use complies with all of the relevant city, state, and federal laws and regulations. As depicted on the site plan you already saw for the proposed development, the use for which this special use permit is requested complies with all use regulations and development city standards of the city of Fayetteville. The applicant will be required to meet all applicable standards. Any questions for me?
We'll save them till after we close the public hearing. That's it for now. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
No, no, sir, we have no further speakers.
All right. With that, we'll close the public hearing. Any questions for staff or the applicant? Councilman Dawkins?
Move to approve the special use permit to allow a religious institution to reduce the required 500 feet distance separation between a bar or nightclub and a religious institution from 500 feet to 185 feet as indicated by the supplied site plan, subject to all other conditions identified in and conforming to the current UDO standards as presented by staff based on the standards of the city's development code and the evidence presented during this hearing. And that the application is consistent with applicable plans because the development is located in a community commercial zoning district and that this use complies with the findings listed. And the proposed permit is in the public interest because the proposed SUP does fit with the character of the area. If approved, the special use permit shall become effective 10 days after its approval by the City Council, which is September 2nd, 2021. The SUP shall expire 1 year from its effective date if a building permit is not issued within that time. For this motion to approve, all findings of fact must be met as Mr. Bansolis read all 8 findings of fact. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's my motion.
All right. There's a motion by Councilmember Dawkins to approve. It's seconded by Councilmember Davis. Discussion on the motion. I think I have Councilmember Waddell, and then I'll go to you.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to reiterate very briefly for the listening audience and to make sure that I understand accurately. This is the church asking for the special use permit, not the bar. So a church is asking to be located in closer proximity to a bar and not the other way around.
Thank you, ma'am, for the clarity. Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to somewhat ask the same thing, but if I could ask the city attorney, I know how we got to the distance between religious institutions and commercial properties that, and you know, the range of what they include. How does that change within the ordinance? Is what what's being requested a standalone, and well, you know what I mean? It's just a standalone item for this particular item, and it doesn't change the 500 feet distance for all other properties that set in that type of.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. There's a motion on the floor by Councilmember Dawkins, seconded by Councilmember Davis. We've had discussion on the motion. Council, I look to you for your votes. Those who vote in favor of the motion, hands. Councilman.
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, it's unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Valdez is back.
Yes. So now we have one other special use permit case that will be presented by staff, Mr. Craig Harmon, Planner 2. The applicant with action to be taken by the City Council. All individuals wishing to speak as witnesses shall have signed up before the start of the meeting. Is there anyone wishing to speak that needs to sign up? And I think all our gentlemen here have signed up to speak. Anyone speaking at the hearing must provide competent materials, substantial evidence to the city council under oath. Anyone planning on speaking during the evidentiary hearing, please stand up and be sworn in by the city clerk to swear or affirm that the testimony you plan to give is true. Next, we'll have the staff presentation. Then afterwards, we'll have the applicants give testimony, and any parties wish to oppose the request. Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, sir. So the next case we have before you is a request of an existing funeral home to operate a crematory in on a property zone limited commercial. This is at 6651 Rayford Road. This is Lafayette Funeral Home. Mr. Dale Crawford is representing the funeral home, but the owner is here as well. Both have signed up to speak. This property is in Councilman Wright's district. And just to give you an idea of where it's located, this is Strickland Bridge Road. This is Rayford Road. Across here is the Walmart grocery store. I believe this is Starbucks here right in front of their property. And their funeral home's been there for quite a number of years. They're looking to do an expansion, you'll see in a minute, which would include the crematory. Current zoning on the property, they own this chunk of property here, which is about 2.5 acres. The funeral home sits on this. They have parking on this portion of their property, and they plan on putting just kind of a little driveway that goes across here, not really using the rest of this that's still zoned residentially. Our land use plan calls for neighborhood mixed use, which just does fall into that type of category. These are the plans that have been submitted so far. So this is here's Rayford Road, here's the existing funeral home, and this would be the addition immediately behind the existing funeral home. This addition, of course, would include the crematory that we're here for tonight. The crematory itself will be more than 300 feet from any residential structure. You have a gas station commercial property here to the east, and then to the west is a light industrial paint and body shop. This particular schematic shows you the landscaping that will be put in as part of this addition. So you'll have buffering put in on the sides and back here to the rear, buffering it from the residential properties on the sides, and then some more landscaping, as you can see here toward the front, and some here around some of the other drive aisles, and then islands as well in their parking areas. And then this is just an elevation of what it will look like when this is complete. So this is the subject property currently. This is the front of the funeral home from Rayford Road, and this is the back of the funeral home. Again, this addition would connect to the back of this building up in this area. This is the paint and body shop beside of it. This is zoned light industrial. Again, to the north is a Starbucks. To the south of this property is a residential street. Again, to the west, the auto body shop, a Caliper Collision, and then a Circle K to the east, a fairly large one. Zoning Commission and staff recommend approval, or Zoning Commission didn't see this. Gotten used to that over the years. But these are the 8 findings that must be met for your approval. And if you would hold any questions or comments for staff until after you conduct the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. Mr. Crawford, how are you?
Doing very well, Mayor. How are you?
Good to see you. So please state your name and address for the record.
Sure.
Let me open the public hearing. There you go.
Dale Crawford, Crawford Design Company, 116 North Cool Spring Street in Fayetteville. And first of all, I very much appreciate allowing to speak tonight. I am representing Lafayette Funeral Home. And just to give you a little background on what they will be putting in, and this information is from Matthews Environmental Services, which is the company that actually be installing the equipment and then the purchase. Been in business 52 years, all equipment's, of course, UL certified. So far, they have 116 installations in North Carolina. They have about 4,500 worldwide. So they've been in business a long time and all. The funeral home anticipates about 200 cremations a year, which is only about 300 hours, which is about 3% of the entire year. So the facility will only be used, in essence, about 3% of the entire year. So it will not be used that much. And then as far as any kind of noise and all, it's equivalent to about a HVAC unit. So it'd not be a very loud unit. Everything will be internal to the building. And of course, the building is located internal to the site. And then with that, I'll certainly answer any questions you have. And Rick is here also to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. We'll catch the questions after we close the public hearing. So,
Okay.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
Yes, sir. Our second speaker is Mr. Rick Wilhide.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name's Rick Wilhide. I'm at 6651 Rayford Road in Fayetteville, 28304.
Did you have any? Oh, so he kind of summed it up, huh?
He kind of summed it up. I'm here for support and answer any questions
All right, we got you.
that
So,
might come about.
all right, with that being said, we'll close the public hearing. Council, I'll look to you. Any questions or comments for staff or the speakers?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the special use permit to allow the crematory to be operated on the site with the existing funeral home as indicated by the attached site plan, subject to all the other conditions identified and conforming to the current UDO standards as presented by staff based upon the standards of the city's development code and the evidence presented during this hearing, and that the applicant is consistent with applicable plans because, number one, development is located in a limited commercial zone district. Number two, that this use applies or complies with the findings listed. And number three, the proposed permit is in the public's interest because the proposed SUP does fit with the character of the area. And it meets all the 8 findings of facts.
All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Wright to approve, seconded by Councilmember Hare. Any discussion on the motion? Councilmember Kinston.
Do they have to state that they meet the 8 findings of facts before we?
I think he said that they met it. You're saying if he has to read each finding of fact, That's a legal question. My law license expired not too long ago.
Oh, you let it expire?
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of that.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Kisson. I thought that the motion incorporated the 8 findings of fact, which.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Wright, seconded by Councilmember Hare. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes to approve. Councilmember Waddell?
Green.
All right, motion carries unanimous. Thank you all. Good luck to you. All right. Public hearing. Individuals desiring to speak at the public hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed to each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless by previous arrangement, single spokesperson is designated, in which case the single spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please step to the podium, clearly state your name and address for the record. The light changes from green to amber, means you have 30 seconds remaining. At the end of your allotted time, you will be notified. This time we'll go to, how are you, sir? Good.
Mayor, member of council, this is an annexation public hearing tonight for an area that you heard about quite a while back. It's referred to as the Commons in Aaron Lakes West. The application was turned in by some folks from Larry King and Associates, but the owner is Mr. George Armstrong. They turned it in on his behalf. It is to annex 9.96 acres, which will be part of a proposed subdivision to be known as the Commons at Aaron Lakes West, related to a zoning case you had on your consent agenda. Located west of Bingham Drive at the end of West Fork Drive. This map shows you the location. Let's see if I can point out Bingham Drive along here. Just off the edge is Lake Ridge Drive running down this way, and West Fork runs down like this. The proposed subdivision will be in this area partially already in the city, is shaded in yellow, and part of it is in an area that was formerly in an area designated for annexation by Hope Mills. You might remember we presented this to you back in April, and you agreed to amend that annexation agreement. It went to Hope Mills. They did the same in June, and so finally it's back here for this annexation public hearing. A few more landmarks, Fisher Road like this. Some pieces of Hope Mills are outlined here in black. And this area shaded in purple is all in Hope Mills now. But the blue indicates an area that was designated for annexation by the town of Hope Mills. It's the Hope Mills MIA, but this has now been changed to a Fayetteville area that can be annexed. Just a shot of the looking into the area from one vantage point, I believe along Fisher Road, a couple of surrounding landmarks, service station near the corner of Fisher Road and Bingham Drive, and a couple of homes, I think again on Fisher Road, way down south of the area. This map here shows you the overall layout of the proposed subdivision. Many of the lots, there's 38 lots in total. However, land down here below this solid red line is not yet in the city, and that's what they've asked you to annex. There's 16 lots in that area. So the area, if developed, would have eventually 16 single-family homes, 38 in the entire subdivision. West Fork Drive goes off the edge of the map up here to Lake Ridge, and this would be the way into the area right here. and then you'd come down on one street being in the proposed annexed area. This is our legal description map we always prepare. So a couple of considerations. Is this area contiguous? Yes. Is it owned by the persons who signed the petition? Yes. And can our departments and PwC provide services? Yes. And we've already gone through the designation. So we have, like, in your agenda packet, of course, a whole lot more information on this area. There are 4 options outlined in there. Basically, here they are. We're recommending that you annex the area tonight after you have your public hearing. That would be based on the following: that it is sufficient, the petition, it meets the standards for a contiguous area, city and PwC can provide services, and the budget impact should be positive, especially a couple of years on into the development of the property.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. With that, we will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, we have any speakers?
Yes, Mayor. We just have one speaker, Miss Laurie Epler.
She join us by phone? Oh,
Okay, we have no further speakers.
all right. That will close the public hearing. Councilman Davis.
Please, the council, I'd like to make a motion that the city council moves to adopt the proposed ordinance annexing the area effective August 23rd, 2021, and establish the initial zoning consistent with prior action on the zoning.
Sorry.
All right. You want to repeat that?
Yes, sir. For the viewing audience, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to ask council to move to adopt proposed ordinance annexing the area effective August 23rd, 2021, and establish the initial zoning consistent with the prior action on the zoning case.
Thank you, sir. There's a motion by Councilmember Davis to approve the following that was presented. There's a second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Those voting to approve. Councilmember Waddell and Ingram.
Green.
Green.
All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Council, motion to adjourn.
So move.